Welcome to Super Sunday. This is the revisited review, the bonus video. We are going to be reviewing all of the old school supers, periodically, like different sections of them or singulars. Really depends on what mood we're in. Today we are going to be doing Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and we're even throwing in Fan4stick, the new one from 2015. If you don't know about the Jingle Jangle with the Fan4stick, it was funny. They did a really stupid title. Hilarious. Anyways, so we're going to be looking back at those three movies, see if they hold up, see if they're, in this case, as bad as we remember them to be, or if maybe they were better than we gave them credit for. So let's just jump right into it. Fantastic Four, what did you think of it?
It's definitely a movie of its time. Being from 2005.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely a movie of its time, but it was a lot better than I remember it being.
And that being said, I think that the movie of its time, yes, but more so with the cliches, more so with the way they made movies, not so much with the special effects. I found the special effects to actually be, other than Mr. Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic was a train wreck.
Other than Mr. Fantastic, pretty good. The Human Torch actually looked like he was on fire.
Yeah.
Didn't really change much over the years. Invisible Woman actually, was pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty
I
good.
liked how you could sometimes see her, sometimes couldn't. Like, you could always see a little outline of her.
Yeah.
Which is nice for viewers. I think technically she is completely invisible.
But really,
But for
invisible is kind of like a loose definition, really, because, like, invisible, she's in a crowd, you ain't gonna see her.
No.
Right.
But it's nice. It makes it a little bit easier for the viewer seeing the little outline of her.
I get that might have been a mistake. That might have been an accident because of green screening. Or rather, green suiting. But I think it was not nearly as bad as we remember. And very specifically, the Thing, I thought, being practical instead of CGI was really nice.
Yeah, it was great makeup and everything.
They could have definitely very easily made horrible CGI instead. But they went for the practical version, which I actually really enjoyed. It was odd because I sat down expecting to make fun of this movie, and I didn't. I sat down ready to make jokes and just kind of enjoyed it.
It was great. I mean, Sue Storm was actually a fairly strong independent character, which
Yes,
is cool.
Actually, she was a useful character. And actually, Jessica Alba, she got grilled for her approach in the second movie, but we'll get there. She actually... Not only did she look the part of Sue Storm, and she acted the part of the strong female scientist / executive in this one, but whatever.
Person.
It was loose. I get it. She was still intelligent, and she was strong. And she played that character well, I thought. Mm-hmm. And the really big thing for me with Sue Storm is, Sue Storm, she has a way of using her power, and it really felt like Jessica Alba took that right out of the comics. Some of the movements that she did were... I don't know if it's because of Jessica Alba, the director, or what, but it was right out of the comic book pages, and I really enjoyed that. It was actually all around a fairly enjoyable movie.
Yeah, it was great. I liked it. It was, it's a little bit dated,
Sure.
but going back and even watching Iron Man 1 is dated.
Yeah. Yep.
It has not aged as well as it could have, but it's still a good movie.
It's still a downright good movie.
Exactly.
Would sit
so
down
I
now
think
and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think the first Fantastic Four was good movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't nearly as bad as people make it out to be. There was room for improvement.
Sure. The whole Ben Grimm thing honestly felt a little disjointed from the rest of the movie. Him being so negative about it. And I do understand
that is his character.
That is his character. I do get that. But
the way it was written and the way it was portrayed was a little...
It felt like another movie, is all. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like it was joined into the rest of the storyline.
No.
The rest of the story seemed like a nice cohesive plot. Again, a little bit on the campy side, but still cohesive, and it made sense together.
And, realistically, when you're approaching something like Fantastic Four and their origin and everything, it needs to be a little campy. Not crazy campy, but a little,
I could see that.
A little bit of campy humor in it, thrown in here and there, is great. I love it.
I agree. Not Batman Forever kind of campiness, but a little goes a long way.
Yeah.
X-Men, actually, I think did that very well at its time. But, the whole Ben Grimm thing, it seemed... odd. It seemed forced in a storyline where it didn't need to.
Now the train wreck that was Fantastic Four and the Rise of the Silver Surfer.
All of the goodwill that it earned back with Fantastic Four, it immediately lost with the sequel to that movie.
Oh yeah. Oh, that went downhill fast.
It was rough. Jessica Alba, for instance, all of the acting that I saw in the first movie was gone. I understand that she did not enjoy her time on set. I don't know exactly the meaning behind that, but it was a little bit of shrouding there. But her wig, her acting was off.
The writing was wrong.
The writing was horrible. Her character changed massively between the two movies.
She was a strong, independent female in the first one.
Too.
And then the second one, she was just a straight-up cow.
And, cow was harsher. I feel like cow is a harsher word than bitch. I don't know. That might just be me. But she also lost all of her scientific prowess, even to the point where people with Reed and Ben and her in the same room would then refer scientific questions to Ben, who has zero scientific background other than being a fighter pilot, which doesn't really have much to do with anything.
No.
So it was weird to see her dumbed down and acting poorly and being an entirely different character than she was in the first movie. It was essentially just her being worried about her wedding the whole time.
Yeah.
And not wanting to be famous, even though that came out of nowhere.
Right?
Which actually brings me into another point.
There definitely should have been a movie in between the two.
Absolutely, because there was this weird, large time jump where they skipped over the whole them becoming the heroes.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that the origin story was the first movie, but then there was this giant jump between them wanting to be heroes and then them being upset about being heroes and upset about the attention and the celebrity status.
And it was ridiculous. Like, there's just, and Galactic Glass.
That's not even getting to the actual villains of the movie, which is Silver Surfer, who was just lackluster and he was
just kind of there.
Silver Surfer honestly could have used a movie on his own before this movie came out, but I understand that's not what they were doing at the time. Silver Surfer was bland.
Yeah.
A character that has a very deep and rich backstory was just there. He does cool stuff and he gives cosmic power to people for some reason, even though that's not in his power set exactly. So
Look, I can fly around on my shiny little board.
That was its own mistake. It did give a few cool moments, and it did give us the opportunity to see Chris Evans in Thing makeup, which was enjoyable in its own right. I guess.
that was one redeeming factor.
It did give a few moments
hilarious.
Of funniness, but overall just a bland character and unnecessary almost.
And I can't believe how many times in two movies, between the first one and the second one, that the Thing turned back into a human.
Right.
That was ridiculous. I get it's
funny. Almost like there was contractual agreement for him to have his face appear in the movie a number of times. Weird. So after that, we have Galactus. The first of two really unfortunate choices to turn really cool villains into clouds.
I mean, if we have a Galactus in a movie, I want the giant fork head. No questions asked. I don't care how cheesy it is. I want the giant fork head.
Sam Basher. You're right.
You are very right. We want the giant fork head. Because, and you know what? That's something I like about Marvel, is that they have, even though some of the costumes are really, really silly.
Totally.
They revamp them a little bit, but they still look more or less like their original costumes.
You can
not turning
do that.
A giant into a cloud.
You can look at movies like Thor Ragnarok, for instance, very recent movie, where they just did it. They just went for it. You have characters like Loki and Hela that's just their costume. It's a very slight change from the comics.
It is.
And it could look ridiculous, but they don't give it time to.
No. They make it look badass, and it's
Galactus
very easy to do.
could look like he does in the comics and still be absolutely terrifying, because you know what?
Yeah, you just make him a darker shade of... realistically, you make it a bit of a darker shade of purple, add a little bit of black highlights in there, and that would be a fucking menacing costume.
Well, you have something that's thousands of miles tall or something, it's going to be scary. This guy eats worlds. It doesn't really matter what he looks like.
He could be wearing a pink tutu and a frilly unicorn horn, and he would still scare the living shit out of me and be the Thing of nightmares.
Yeah, because he's giant. It's scary. Ant-Man kind of looks silly too, but he goes into giant mode, and oh my god, he's terrifying.
Yeah, there's no questions asked.
Now, obviously we didn't like the second movie. We did like the first movie. Mm-hmm. What did you think of Fantastic going back to it?
I really, really liked the first half of the movie. Really good start to a movie. It was.
Slight exaggeration.
Whatever. It was a little cliche. but it was a decent start to a movie. Would you let me talk, damn it?
I am. I'm interjecting, not interrupting.
It was a good start to the movie, and then the last half of the movie, that whole part where they should have just stopped it when they realized Dr. Doom was alive and left a little bit of a cliffhanger for the next movie. Because that whole 10-minute arc of saving the planet would have just been it should have been its own movie.
They spent about 2/3 of the movie trying to actually be a good movie. They were trying, and I give them credit for that. They could have hired some better writers. That's fine. It happens. It happened to X-Men. It'll happen to others. It's fine. Whatever. But the last third of the movie, they threw all this shit at the wall, trying to make something stick, including bringing Dr. Doom back and having him, for some reason, want to destroy the planet, and then all of the teams somehow deciding to work together to beat this guy that they were friends with before, really trying to kill him. Absolutely trying to kill him. And then they defeat him by punching him a bunch. Super clever there. And then they all return home and they're besties again, for some reason. Oh, and also now Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm, who have not really had any dialogue together, now dislike each other. Johnny especially. To quote him exactly, the thing nobody wants. Why? Because I don't think you guys have spoken yet.
No, I think they spoke once, maybe twice before that. But
yeah,
realistically,
while one was burning alive and the other was being piled by rubble, because that's when they met. And then Ben went and left and became a military weapon, and Johnny was in captivity. They didn't speak in that time. The only time they saw each other was the couple minutes before, while they were suiting up.
Yeah,
that's a really strong opinion to form about someone, Johnny.
It is. Take a break. Chill out a little bit.
He already looks like a giant rock dude. Can you just give him a break?
No doubt. Anyway,
also, actually, the CGI effect on Ben, not a good look.
No, they should have just went with the makeup again. I get it sucks sitting in makeup for 3-4 hours.
Sure.
I get it. It sucks ass.
But it already looked good. They were acclaimed. When Fantastic Four came out, the Thing's makeup being practical was acclaimed. People liked it.
Yeah, it's so much more realistic because,
why change it after that?
I get with Hulk how you have to do it as CGI because he's
that's not going to happen otherwise.
No, and I get that. But the thing is about average height. I mean, maybe he's a smidge taller than everybody else, but not really.
Not really, no.
He's average
a little bit of camera tricks and a fair bit of makeup. I'm not going to lie. I get it. A lot of makeup. But it was a better look.
Much better.
It was already said to be a better look.
No.
Everyone said don't do a CGI one, and then you did one anyways.
Yeah, that was a mess.
The special effects were only really better on Mr. Fantastic.
Yes.
And then the rest of them were just either the same or lesser.
Yeah. And that's a 10-year gap between movies, and it's like...
A decade!
Do you realize how much technology has changed?
Johnny was a little bit better. Barely a difference. In a decade.
Yep.
I get it, because there wasn't actually a whole lot to change. He looked pretty good to start with. But, Sue was the same.
Yeah.
Her bubbles looked slightly better.
Not by a lot, though. They're just kind of there.
Mr. Fantastic looked way better. That being said, actually, with all 3 movies, really good casting.
Yeah. Really good casting, and I don't get it.
I don't get it. The casting director that's in charge of all these superhero movies is a genius.
He is, and then they keep shitting on him, and it's like, dude, I feel for you.
I've always imagined it to be a girl. I've never checked. I don't know.
Probably.
I just have more faith in women, I guess. That being said, watch the first Fantastic Four from 2005. You'll be pleasantly surprised. It's actually not nearly as bad as we remember it to be. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Don't do it.
Don't do that.
It's really not worth it. It spoils a lot.
Yep.
Spoils a lot of it.
And then Fanforstic, just watch the first half of the movie because the acting's actually.
Just don't watch it.
Just watch the first half. You'll be fine.
Nobody does that. Nobody watches the first half and goes, you know what? I'm good here. I'll just stop here. It's fine.
I've done it more than once, actually.
It's because it's a bad movie and you don't want to watch the rest of it. It's not because the first half is good.
No, the first half of it is awesome.
2/3 is okay. It's filled with cliches, campiness, and some stuff that just doesn't make sense. I said it while I was watching the movie. Victor Von Doom, super genius. Also, for some reason, the bad boy who brings alcohol to work. He's both a paranoid super genius and the badass older upperclassman that brings alcohol to work and literally whistled. You want it?
Oh, fuck, that was funny.
Come on.
Not in the way they were. Not in the way they were intending it to be funny, but it was fucking funny.
It was bad. Anywho, I think that about wraps up our opinions on those 3 movies. Look forward to some more movie reviews from us going back in through the years. We're going to be covering, I mean, we have on the docket right now, we're going to be doing, at some point, no promises. It is a bonus video, chill. It's a joke. It's a joke. Don't get mad, please.
Oh,
we like
Christ.
you.
Oh,
What?
nothing.
You don't like them? I like them. I like you. So, at some point, we're going to be doing the X-Men movies. I think we're also going to be, at some point, doing retro movies. We'll hit around all the bases here, okay?
Yep.
So, hope you enjoyed it.
Leave comments if there's specific movies you want to see us go back and watch and cringe.
Totally. Supers only, though, okay? Rough approximation. I'm pretty loosey-goosey with that shit. Anime, Howard the Duck, whatever. Okay?
God, not Howard
Go
the
nuts.
Duck.
It's a good movie.
Oh, God, not Howard the Duck.
It's one of those hidden gems. You think it's worse than it is. It's just so much fun because it makes fun of itself. Another time.
No.
Well, yeah, that's been us. I'm David.
I'm Amber.
And this has been your Review Revisited. Toodles.